sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Because according to the calculation that other people present, the marriage took place 7 months after the hijrah. But the ahadith also are pointing out that the marriage took place after the Battle of Badr, which took place 2 years after the Prophet ﷺ's presence in Medina and migration to Medina. Now, there's another fact that we also need to keep in mind. It is said also in the Tabari that there are 2 different accounts in the Tabari. In one account, Aisha radiallahu ta'ala an was 1 year old when the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam received the wahi. This is one account. The second account is that the Aisha radiallahu ta'ala an was 5 years old when Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam received wahi. It is in the same book, in the history of the book. So which one do you accept? So that's why when you go to all these kind of other ahadith in Tabqat Asad and the Bukhari and the Tabari, then you basically calculate. There is another evidence, and that is that Asma bint Abu Bakr, who was the sister of Aisha radiallahu ta'ala, she was older by 10 years to Aisha radiallahu ta'ala. In the Mishkat, Sheikh Waliuddin Abi Abdullah Muhammad bin Abdul Khatib wrote in his book Akmal fi Asma'i Rijal. Asma is the daughter of Abu Bakr Siddiq. She is the mother of Abdullah ibn Zubair. When Islam came to Mecca, it is said that only 17 people accepted it. Asma was 10 years older than Aisha. Asma's son Zubair was buried after he was murdered, and after 10 or 20 days, Asma bint Abu Bakr died at the age of 100. At that time, it was 73 Hijrah. Lots of people have reported this according to the explanation in the Mishkat. So Asma radiallahu ta'ala's age at the time of her death was 100. From that follows that her age at Hijrah was 27. Because she lived 73, she died in 73 Hijrah. Because Aisha was 10 years younger than Asma at Hijrah, Aisha's age must have been 17 if we use that calculation. And hence, she was married when she was 19 years old, 2 years after Hijrah. It is also evident that the Kalbi told Hisham bin Abdul Malik about Fatima radiallahu ta'ala an's age being 35 when she died and then if Aisha's radiallahu ta'ala an's age was 17, then Fatima radiallahu ta'ala an's age was 22. At Fatima radiallahu ta'ala an's death, she would be around 33, including the year of birth and death, which can be calculated as 35. In any case, based on the accounts that you see in these kind of books of hadith, the engagement of the Prophet ﷺ with Aisha radiallahu ta'ala an might have taken place at the age of 13, 16, 17. This is what basically these ahadith and these accounts are pointing out. And then what is also very evident, that none of the daughters of the Prophet ﷺ were married when they were children. And then Fatima radiallahu ta'ala an got married when she was 21 or 22. Zainab got married when she was 18 and 19. Kulthum. And Ruqayya got married when they were 22 or 19. So let us summarize what basically we have. And that the summary is that if we look at what the Tabari and the Bukhari and Ibn Sa'd have written, they have various dates about the age of the Prophet himself. One of the accounts says that he was 60. The other account says he was 63. The third account says he was 65. right? Based on how they are calculating. And as I mentioned, that it is quite possible that all 3 dates could be right, depending on how you start your year. Because if you start calculating the year from the first of the month, it is an additional year. And at the end, calculated according to the last month, then it is another additional year. So based on that kind of account, one can easily say that the ahadith themselves point out to the age of Aisha radiallahu ta'ala, and not 6, but either 13, 17 or 19. It's very important for us. What is also very interesting, that when Wa'il bin Usman narrated that hadith in Kufa, Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, one of the companions of the Prophet ﷺ, and it is written in the history of Baghdad, Tariq Baghdad, which is also an account of the history of Islam and history of Muslims by Abdul Khatib Baghdadi, that all the ahadith that Wa'il bin Usman narrated in Kufa cannot be trusted because he was 90 years of age and he had lost his memory. This is what one of the great Sahabas of the Prophet ﷺ is saying. So, based on all those things, the question that we have to ask is that why is it that one particular hadith was rejected and one particular hadith was accepted, when in terms of asnad, they were of the same quality? And who made that decision? In the Bukhari, you have those variations of hadith. In the Tabari, you have those variations of the age of Aisha radiallahu ta'ala. In the Tabaqat ibn Sa'd, you have those variations. Why one particular age was picked up by some of these scholars? Why not the other? That is a question that we must ask. That when the evidence is overwhelming, in the age of Aisha radiallahu ta'ala to be 16 or 19 or 13, because if you even calculate it on the basis of the numbers of ahadith that are mentioned, there are more ahadith supporting the age of 16 and 13 and 19 than the hadith supporting the age of 6. Then why would you basically go for that kind of understanding and that kind of thing? And that is a question that we need to ask, and we need to answer in the context of the historical development that have taken place in Islam. And the historical developments were that most of these collection of ahadith were written down, with the exception of Muwatta ibn Malik, Imam Malik, some 250 years after Prophet ﷺ. The Bukharis, the Muslims, Ibn Majah, Tirmizi, all of these accounts came much later. And what is very interesting is that all these 6 compilers of hadith were non-Arabs. Arabic was not their mother tongue. That's something very interesting to understand also. What is also very interesting, that at that particular time, a large number of people who had belonged to Zoroastrianism, who had belonged to Christianity, who had belonged to Hinduism, who had belonged to Judaism, had converted to Islam, without any formal training in Islam, the same way as the companions of the Prophet were basically trained by him. They came with their own traditions. They came with their own culture. And they tried to understand everything within the context of their culture. And when they looked at the issue from their own culture, they did not find, many of them did not find anything odd in terms of getting a child married at the age of 5, at the age of 3, at the age of 6, because according to the Old Testament, especially among the Jews, a child could be married at the age of 3. According to the old Christian thought, a child could be married at the age of 5. According to Hindus, a child could be married when that child is just born. As is the tradition now even in India. As soon as the child is born, the engagement takes place. And by the age of 5 or 6 or 7, in certain tribal areas of India and certain northern part of India, the marriage basically is finalized, is conducted. So when they brought that kind of thing, it did not appear them that it is an odd kind of thing, that such a thing could happen, and at that particular time it was accepted. But now on the basis of the research that we have, on the basis of understanding of the ahadith that we have, on the basis of the knowledge that we have developed, based on the sources, not on the basis of basically shying away from the fact, not on the basis of the accusation that other people are making against the Prophet, but based on these historical sources that are well documented, why should we accept that one particular claim that is not supported by majority of the ahadith, and that is not supported by majority of the writings by even those people whose writings have been challenged by many people in the past? So from that perspective, we can safely say, without any hesitation, that the Prophet did not marry Aisha radiallahu ta'ala at the age of 6. We can safely say that the marriage was not consummated at the age of 9 when Aisha radiallahu ta'ala was of that age. The marriage might have taken place between these three figures, 13, 16, and 19. That is basically, again, supported by these kind of things. So from that perspective, if anyone asks about that, we should not shy away from saying that it is quite possible that some of the people might have made a mistake in terms of reporting. It's quite possible that some people might have misreported. But after all, this is not part of Iman. It is not part of our faith. For instance, Sauda radiallahu ta'ala. Some people said that she died at the age of 54, and 54 Hijrah. Some people said that she died in the 7th year of Hijrah. Some people said that she died in the 13th year of Hijrah. What difference does it make in terms of our commitment to Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, in terms of our Iman? If our forefathers did not preserve the history, our Prophet should not be blamed for that. And our Prophet should not be blamed of doing things that he did not do. So this is what basically the dilemma of our mind is. That on the one hand, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala clearly tells us in the Quran, وَلَا تَخْفُ مَا لَيْسَ لَكَ بِهِ عِلْمٍ إِنَّ البَّصَرَ وَالسَّمْعَ وَالْفُؤَادَ كُلُّ أُولَٰئِكَ كَانَ عَنْهُ مَسْئُولًا. That employ all your rational faculties in observations and analysis and checking the facts in order to determine and verify a fact. And yet, when we do this kind of verification based on what basically we read in our own things, and we reach to a different conclusion, then why the word comes down and falls apart? Why don't our scholars accept that yes, there are different accounts also? And those accounts could be given legitimacy based on what has been presented. Because there is so much overwhelming evidence in support of the second argument than the first argument, that people should not have any doubt in accepting the second perspective about the age of Aisha radiallahu ta'ala. So it is from that perspective, I think we can resolve this issue once for all, that no, the age of Aisha radiallahu ta'ala was not 6, was not even 9 when the engagement took place. Aisha radiallahu ta'ala was much more mature and much more aged when the marriage took place. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم. Inshallah, if there are questions, then we will have. Otherwise, we will go for the Salatul Isha.